She showed up every day, smiling to pain, her hand wrapped in a makeshift bandage, her body running on sheer determination. But what no one knew was why she pushed herself so hard, and what dark truth was hiding behind those long shifts. An undercover boss watched quietly, piecing the puzzle together, until one discovery left him speechless. What could drive someone to sacrifice their own health just to keep working? And more importantly, what hidden injustice was she fighting against all along? Denise had always been the kind of person who carried herself with quiet strength. She wasn't just another waitress. She was the one customers remembered, the one who stayed late to clean up after others, the one who never complained no matter how heavy the workload became. For most people, the restaurant was just a job. For Denise, it was survival. She had bills piling up, a family depending on her, and a world that hadn't always treated her fairly because of who she was and where she came from. On the surface, things seemed ordinary. Long hours, tired feet, and endless trays of orders. But beneath that routine was a story no one truly saw, a story of sacrifice, resilience, and hidden wounds. She carried them quietly, until one day, her struggle became impossible to ignore. What the undercover boss discovered would reveal not only her pain, but also the silent prejudice she faced daily. At first, Denise's injury seemed like nothing more than an accident. A hand wrapped in cheap gauze, hidden beneath her apron as she carried plates through the busy restaurant. She worked slower than usual, but she never stopped. What the undercover boss noticed, though, was how her manager, Ross, treated her differently. Instead of offering help, Ross barked at her, piling on heavier workloads, criticizing her for mistakes she hadn't even made. It wasn't just harsh management. It was targeted cruelty. Denise wasn't the only waitress, but she was the only one consistently singled out. When others slipped up, Ross brushed it off. But when Denise did the smallest thing wrong, he made sure everyone saw it. He accused her of laziness, of being unfit for the job, even hinting that someone like her didn't belong in a place that valued professionalism. His words weren't direct, but their meaning cut sharper than any insult. The undercover boss kept watching, and what he saw made his stomach twist. Customers who looked like Denise often received slower service, because Ross deliberately delayed their orders, then turned around and blamed her. When tips went missing, it was Denise he accused. And through it all, she never lashed out, never defended herself. She just lowered her head, kept working, and tried to ignore the humiliation. But the breaking point came one night when Denise, struggling with her injured hand, dropped a tray of glasses. The crash echoed to the dining room, and everyone froze. Ross stormed over, his voice loud enough for the whole restaurant to hear. He accused her of being careless, irresponsible, and worse, suggested she was faking her injury just to get sympathy. The words weren't just cruel. They carried an edge, the kind of prejudice that makes people feel smaller, unworthy, invisible. The undercover boss clenched his jaw, fighting the urge to intervene right there. He knew he needed proof, something undeniable that exposed Ross for what he truly was. And that night, as Denise wiped away her tears and kept working, the boss realized this wasn't just about a waitress with a broken hand. This was about a woman battling a system of quiet, daily discrimination that had been allowed to fester unchecked. But the question was, how far would Ross go? And just how much could Denise endure before the truth finally came crashing into the open? The breaking point came on a Friday night, the busiest shift of the week. Denise's hand was trembling, the swelling worse than ever, but she pushed through. The undercover boss watched from the corner, tension building with every step she took. Then it happened. A register came up short, and Ross pounced. He grabbed a drawer, waving it in front of everyone, and accused Denise of stealing. His voice cut through the room, sharp and humiliating. "Caught again," he sneered, loud enough for customers to hear. Denise froze, eyes wide, her body shaking, not just from pain, but from the weight of every accusation she had carried in silence. Ross wasn't finished. He leaned in, twisting the knife deeper, hinting that people like her were always looking for an easy way out. The words hung in the air like poison. It wasn't just about missing money anymore. It was about her worth, her dignity, her place in that room. And still, Denise didn't fight back. She stood there, holding her broken hand against her apron, tears threatening to spill, but refusing to give Ross the satisfaction of breaking her spirit. The boss could feel the room shift, customers whispering, staff glancing away in shame. It was the moment that exposed everything. The injustice wasn't hidden anymore. It was raw, undeniable, and out in the open. And for the undercover boss, there was no holding back. The time for watching was over. The time for truth had come. The room fell silent when the undercover boss finally stepped forward. The man Ross had dismissed as just another diner quietly watching was, in fact, the owner. In that moment, the balance of power shifted. Ross's arrogance crumbled, his excuses unraveling under the weight of undeniable truth. He was fired on the spot, his cruelty his prejudice, his lies laid bare for everyone to see. But for Denise, the resolution wasn't just about Ross being removed. It was about finally being seen. Her broken hand was no longer ignored. Her dignity was no longer trampled on. And for the first time in a long while, someone in authority stood beside her instead of against her. She was promoted not out of pity, but because her resilience, her strength, and her unshakable work ethic deserved recognition all along. Still, the scars of what she endured linger. Denise's story is more than one woman overcoming cruelty. It's a reflection of what countless others face every day. Quiet discrimination that hides behind authority, subtle prejudice that chips away at dignity, and systemic barriers that demand more from some while giving less in return. The undercover boss uncovered more than just a broken hand. He uncovered the truth of how injustice operates in silence until it's forced into the light. And so, the question remains, how many more Denises must endure in silence before we decide enough is enough? How many hidden stories will it take before justice is not an exception, but the expectation? Because in the end, this isn't just her story. It's ours. And if you believe stories like these deserve to be heard, don't forget to subscribe, share this video, and help shine a light on the voices that too often go unheard.